all hookup culture is, you guys, it's just, I don't even know if I could say this on camera, masturbation.
Masturbating with your body is really what they're doing.
Yep. This is shaming tactics. Notice that Jed, one of our good friends, this is easy to buy into because it sounds, in so many ways on paper, it sounds right because men's sexual quandary is that he's always on, right? He's always available to do this. Nature has built this way. Its universe has done it. You shouldn't be ashamed of that as your operating system. Now, what us as humans do is use our neocortex to work with that. So there's definitely some shaming tactics going on here, which will be very popular with certain sets of individuals, particularly, I believe, on the TradCon side, because it really folds into what's been projected for years in the gynocentric social order that we have, is to shame men for women's failures. You'll notice that what he said was the way we also shame women. So
exactly. Well, I want to make a point though, because what he's doing is he is saying basically that men are basically just, every time a guy is hooking up with a girl, he's basically graping her. It's a grape session because he's removing her agency. He's removing her choice making. He is removing the fact that she actually has free will and she gets to make a choice in who she wants to engage with and who she doesn't. And when you're doing that, you're removing the fact that women do not have an option or a choice that they make that they're responsible for, and be blaming the entirety of the responsibility on that decision on men. And that's the same thing, Randall, you're going to probably speak on this, but that's the same thing that the church has been doing against men for a very long time now.
Its tactic towards men specifically, is especially if you were a single man, was if you felt any sexual desire, which is natural. We have testosterone pumping through our bodies, especially as young guys, that makes us feel these urges. But if you felt those urges and you try to talk about it to anybody at the church, they made you feel so much shame. They would tell you that it's a sin. And as a young kid, you're impressionable. You listen to these adults that you look up to, and they're like, by feeling that way, you are committing a sin against God.
The thing about using the word masturbation does two things. It sets a man up to understand that he's in control of her virtue, and it holds him totally responsible for the sexual act. And that's why churches are leaning this way now, because they can't say meaningless sex, because most people in the church have had meaningless sex or sex outside of marriage. Okay, I think you'd be hard pressed to find anyone in the church that hasn't, that's over the age of 15, I would say, these days. So they have to make it individualized, and the only way they can individualize that sin is to call it masturbation for men and hold men responsible for holding the virtue of women, which we all know is impossible for a man to do, by one on a single one-by-one basis. So, the church has always talked about, even since the beginning of the church, has always talked about, being celibate till marriage in some form or another. All right.
Yeah, but see, that's for different reasons, though.
Well, but the reasons may be different, but they've always talked about it. All right. But, disease and those issues were prominent with, the chance of death in the early church. And therefore, purity wasn't purity from the sex act. It was purity of the body. So that's always been important. Now, as we become more and more, I want to say, advanced in medicines and stuff like that, we've tried to translate purity of the body to purity of the soul, purity of the heart, purity of the sexual body. And we've been successful at that up until this point, till probably around the 60s, when pregnancy was the only indication of lack of purity before that. By taking out, if they're not pregnant or they haven't had a child, you can't tell whether they're pure. And that's what birth control did. But like I said, the whole thing about the masturbation, that's just to make a man responsible for the virtue, and to hold a man responsible for maintaining virtue within the church, virtue within the relationship, and virtue within the family.
If you're looking to level up your physique and you need some assistance, make sure to go to PhilFosterFitness.com. PhilFosterFitness.com is your one-stop shop for all your fitness and workout needs. Get your high-quality protein that's packed with all the essential ingredients that you need to support muscle recovery and muscle growth. And if you haven't reached your fitness goals on your current workout plan, make sure to go to PhilFosterFitness.com and book yourself a one-on-one consult today. When you book your one-on-one consult at PhilFosterFitness.com, you get a custom customized workout and nutrition plan that's designed specifically for you. Look, you're an individual, so a generic cookie-cutter workout plan that you found off the internet will only get you so far. So if you really want to level up and reach your goals, you need a customized workout plan that's designed specifically for you. So if you're really wanting to reach your fitness goals, why wait? Go to philfosterfitness.com and book yourself a consult today.